So here I am in conversation with Karl Lutchmayer, who has just arrived in preparation for the concert on the 9th of December. Welcome to Goa, Karl.
Thank you, Luis.
So what are your thoughts now that you're here? In the sense you've come to try out the piano. Uh, you're no stranger to Goa, obviously.
I've been coming to Goa since 1974.
Yeah.
So it's changed a huge amount in that time.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think I am a bit of a stranger in Goa in this decade.
And three of your grandparents are Goan.
That's right,
So
yeah. I mean, two of them from Kandunli, one from Kolval, and then the surname came via Mauritius.
And it's Lutch or Lutchmayer?
Lutchmayer.
Lutchmayer. Okay, tell us a little more about your program. You know, you've been having concerts in tribute to Liszt and now even to Busoni. Anything you want to say about the program on the 9th?
Okay, well, the program on the 9th, the second half is all Liszt.
Yeah.
And I felt very strongly, as I've played, I think, 48, 49 concerts of purely Liszt this year, of various kinds, to introduce people to his music in the bicentenary year. So I wanted part of the concert to be all about Liszt. So I've traced to his life somewhat in that part. And then the first half, of course, Beethoven met Liszt when they were young. Chopin was a very, very close friend of Liszt, so there's that connection. Beethoven passes on the baton to Liszt and says, you're the next generation.
Right.
Liszt is a very good friend of Chopin's. And then finally, right towards the end of his life, Busoni meets Liszt, and then Busoni takes on that baton and plays Liszt and does lots of transcription. So it seemed to me a very connected.
So there is a connection between Busoni and Liszt too?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay. And you've been doing something almost like a pilgrimage trip of your own. I believe you were in Rome recently at the Villa d'Este.
I was at the Villa d'Este in Rome, which was an extraordinary experience. Had an amazing seeing all the fountains, seeing all the trees and things. Quite extraordinary.
Yeah.
I've been to Hungary. I've been to all sorts of places in the footsteps. Lots of places in England, of course, where Liszt was and travelled.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to get inside his life somewhat.
Yeah, and what I wanted to ask you also, because I like the style of your concert, the conversational concert series. I've been to some of them on both ends of the continent. So what I wanted to check with you, you're going to be doing something of that this time too.
Of course, yes. I introduce my programs. I think that's very important. It's very easy to go to a concert and be outside the music because I spend a lifetime in music, not everybody else does, and so that's my idea, to be able to talk to people and introduce them to the music. So they're really listening.
And I was very interested by this comment you made about the hyper-conscious state of the listener. Because this is something that hasn't, or shall I say, has still to take root, the idea of perfect silence while a concert is in progress.
This of course, is a big problem in India, but we must be careful about this. Concerts in the 19th century, the concerts that Liszt played were not quiet concerts.
Right.
They were entertainments, and I understand that entirely. He would chat to his audience.
Yeah.
He would then go off and play some pieces. He would chat a bit more. They would be talking, maybe. They would stop for the interesting moments, but a lot of the time they wouldn't. We have to understand that was a different world, and I understand equally.
But this is the now.
This is now, but different geographies at different places, and we must accept that there are different styles of listening. But the important thing is that when people are listening, they are actually listening rather than letting the music just pass them by and finding a nice quiet space to think about their own problems. So that's the important thing, to engage.
And I hope you'll be making that point.
Almost certainly at some point we will talk about the engagement, absolutely.
And your career path has been fantastic. You've had all these accolades, and you've written this, or you've contributed to a book on classical music.
Absolutely.
What basically, as an Indian or as 3/4 Indian?
No, I'm Indian.
What are your thoughts about the youth of today? I mean, can they do what you have done or are doing, or should they do what you have done and are doing?
I believe classical music is important, but I believe all art is important. So therefore, it is important that all the arts continue in their various ways. Of course, it's possible to do. Being Indian, it's slightly more difficult because our parents expect us to become professional.
Yeah.
And being an itinerant musician is not necessarily the most secure profession.
Yeah.
But then I think it's interesting that already now some Indian families are sending their children to go and study music, and this is changing. There's enough of a strong feeling about music, there's enough of a middle class in India to be able to say that's allowable now.
But that's precisely the point. It's middle class and above, you see. It hasn't percolated down any further.
This is always the problem. This is the problem in England. At the moment, studying music is quite expensive as for children.
Yeah.
You know, so ultimately it tends to be those people with money who can study music.
Yeah.
And it's own, and of course, when someone is very gifted, there is a scholarship and so on.
Yeah.
But it is very difficult always for the poorer sections of the community to involve themselves in something that costs money to study outside of school.
And this is the problem. I don't know whether you agree with me, but we just don't have that sort of tradition in India yet. But I think India's time has come. You know, China had its time. China has had its time, and it's still having its time. Yeah. So I think we, the youngsters of today, need to make sure that this time for India does come.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very important. I mean, my friends at Furtado's tell me that the piano sales are amazing at the moment.
Yeah.
Lots of people, so
but who's teaching those? Who's teaching them?
Well, I know that I don't know, to be honest with you. But I mean, the other thing is that we must be very careful that it doesn't become sort of some colonial idea that people come from the West to teach the piano in India and then go back. I think there needs to be a continuing tradition of Indians studying, maybe studying abroad, but coming back themselves, rather than going off and spending the rest of their lives elsewhere. Coming back, giving back into the community. I think that's very, very important. That's why I mean, although I grew up in the West, I try and come back when I can.
Because let's make it simpler. What advice would you give a child or the parent of a child who seems to be showing some aptitude or inclination towards music?
Okay. Then give as many opportunities as there are possible.
But we don't have them here. That's
no. Opportunities means a teacher. There are teachers here.
Yeah.
An instrument.
Yeah.
There are instruments here.
Yeah.
Some training. We're sitting in Karl Academy.
Yeah.
We can hardly say. Of course, there's the possibility of training. I've heard many talented young musicians when I've been in India. So there are the possibilities. So there's the encouragement, the space, but also don't say, music is necessarily less good than being a doctor. It's an equal profession.
So exactly.
My full title is professor, as you know, and you know, I'm a professional man. So that's all I would say, is that the opportunity to become something that is not traditionally what our culture suggests one should become is absolutely fine. I mean, you know, that's a reasonable approach to art form and to the world around us. And let's be honest, there are enough Indian doctors now. There are probably too many Indian lawyers, but are there enough Indian musicians?
That's the thing. So but I am dying to see the time when we have as many Indian musicians on the world scene, or even on the Indian scene, as you have Chinese and Southeast Asian.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? And if we get a decent infrastructure, and if people say, this is something we will allow our children to do, that can happen, of course.
And I have a feeling that obviously we're sitting in the government building, and we would like the government to take it full speed. But perhaps this is also the domain of the private sector, private business.
As I say, in the West, it is very much the domain of the private sector. And those who are passionate about music put their funds into supporting the arts. That's very, very important.
Yeah, and I think not enough of the private sector are passionate about the arts yet.
I don't know that.
I mean, this is my view. This is my view. I'm not even. So anyway, we are looking forward very much to your concert, and have a pleasant stay in Goa and in the rest of India.
Of course I will. Thank you.
Goodbye.